the summer after my first year in culinary school, I interned in my first New York City restaurant where I was humbled to say the least. Uh, yeah, I mean, I was scarcely referred to by my actual name, if you get what I mean. And yeah, it was immensely challenging, but that was an experience where I got to really see like what I need in order to function. Um, After finishing my second year, which was about 10 months ago, I started working at a restaurant in Ridgewood, Queens, where I worked as a line cook. Really jumped right into the fire. Um, it was intense, very intense, working saute at like a prolific New York City restaurant, um, and cutting my teeth. And yeah, I made some very meaningful connections, which made it so that when an opportunity came up to work in the butchery program at the restaurant, it was offered to me because my chef recalled that I was fascinated with that. Um, and yeah, it fell into place, and now I've been working in the butchery team for 6 months now, about learning a tremendous amount, and it's a career path that really like overlaps and connects beautifully with all of my other passions and interests.
Hmm.
um for animals. Ironically, it's because butchery is about the breaking down of an animal for human consumption, but it's largely about doing so in a way that optimally respects the creature and the fact that it had a life,
Hmm.
and making the most out of its entirety, from nose to tail.
Yeah.
Firstly, I think my relationship with Dave is probably one of the most, if not the most important um, connections that I've ever made in my life. I mean, I don't know if I would have gotten sober if it weren't for that guy. I mean, he really inspired me in ways that like just left a permanent mark on me. And to this day, I talk to him. I mean, he's essentially, he's a sponsor, he's a friend, it's like family, a guy truly, uh in his humility, I'm sure he would deny all of it, but yeah, he had just a tremendous, unspeakable impact on me,
Hmm.
as a person and in my development. That was crucial. In addition to all the other relationships that I formed, which were honestly all just about as momentous as mine with Dave. But yeah, I mean, it also, the bridge created that initial and like very important separation of me from where I was, both environmentally and emotionally. And it was the first time where I was starting to get my things together on my own accord, and not
Hmm.
just as the rest of the world was telling me that I had to.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would be an idiot to throw my life away just for the pursuit of momentary pleasures, and being a not good person. So yeah, I knew there was more to life than what I was doing. I mean,
So
there's the illusion that with just kind of running around and doing whatever you want, with drugs and, well, whatever your form of mindless escapism may be. um, I think a lot of kids wrongly perceive that as freedom, when in fact it's just enslavement. Not to be cliche, but truly, I mean, it's just the more things that you create a dependency on, just the more you're shutting yourself down and closing doors and killing opportunities for yourself, because it's all time that you could be putting into something that is actually building yourself and taking yourself in a direction upwards, you know. And there were things that I never really resonated with, and I didn't really realize that until I found my niche in a place like New York or at boarding school. Uh, but yeah, I think that was my way of coping was with drugs and alcohol, you know, because I could kind of be alone and which I preferred, and just kind of have an adventure in the confines of my own bedroom, you know.
Mm.
From an egotistical standpoint, it's you know, a lot of kids think it's tough, you know, it's a brave thing to be doing, uh, you know, puts you on the fringe of society, and then you're kind of gambling with your life every time you do whatever you're doing, you know, whatever your choice is. Um, but it's not brave. It's actually quite easy. There's no skill or bravery involved in putting a pill on your tongue, or snorting a line of something, or you know, there's no strength involved in that. Some of my closest friends are from my time there. I mean, we visit each other. Um, yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. I remember when we were uh, I was sitting next to one of my close friends at the bridge, and we were like looking at the ocean or something, and I just said to him like, Remember that time we lived in Costa Rica? You know, just like an acknowledgement of the fact that it's going to go like this, and one day it's going to be today, and I'm going to be looking back at it, you know, um, which, you know, it's true.
Yeah.
You surround yourself with amazing people who are searching for the light, you know, and are really just putting their best foot forward in life, then inevitably it's going to rub off on you. Um, and those are the people who are good to be around, anyways, you know. Those aren't fair weather people who only care about you if you have something to offer, you know.
Mm.
Um, which one thing, like when you become sober, or not even if you become sober, but if you just kind of if you become someone who values things, who has virtues, you know, your definition of what a friend is becomes more and more refined with time. Look at the people who you admire or look up to, either consciously or subconsciously, and really think about what it is and why you admire those people, what attributes you look up to in them. Um, and think about like how you can uh, cultivate those things for yourself, you know.
Mm.
uh, yeah, I mean, and then you'll start, you know, kind of getting all these cool little like tidbits from different people, you know. This person got me into this, and this person got me into reading this sort of stuff, and these kinds of movies, and you know, like I can accredit like a lot of my passions to things that I have picked up from people like Dave, or just people that I've met in my just in my life, you know. Just the approach at the bridge is so real. In that there's a lot of wisdoms that are provided, um, just about life and stuff. Um, and not so much, and it's not so much about um like it's not a punishment. Whereas I'm sure in a lot of programs, the message is kind of one that's hyper disciplinary, um, and supposed to, you know, knock you into shape, so to speak.
Mm.
Whereas at the bridge, it's just kind of like you're just kind of, you're told what is good for you, and um you're simply just guided, you know. You're not you're not you're not being forced to do, you know, tremendous daunting tasks, but someone's basically giving you a set of instructions and saying like, if you follow these, you will see results and you will improve. And it's just, it's true. Like, it's I think that approach of kind of entrusting, at least partially, the young men there with, partially entrusting them with their own process, and to initiate their own process, and to put as much work into it as they want to, is part of what makes the Bridge like such a special and unique program.
Hmm.
Since it's such a small community there, at the Bridge, it's just the there's just an inevitability of everyone kind of becoming close,
Hmm.
and consequentially holding each other accountable, but not in a way that's like, you know, formatted therapeutic. Just, you know, people being real with each other,
Hmm.
people who, I think for a lot of kids at the Bridge, it's probably the first time in their lives they're forming like truly healthy relationships with other people in their age group. It's, I
Hmm.
think a lot of it is about you promoting your own growth. You're kind of handed the formula, you know, um, just on things to prepare you for life. You know, just all the trust and the closeness with the people that you're working with. You know, the fact that like, oh, this person's not putting on some like therapeutic, authoritative facade. You know, this person's just being themselves and just helping me. You know, because they're a good person. Like
Hmm.
it's um yeah, it's just a very real approach. So the values there are so real in that no one's looking at the shoes on your feet, you know. The values in Costa Rica are, you know, family, you know, God, or whatever your belief system may be, um, and just like being kind because it's, you know, it costs nothing. Um, and the people there are so genuine, and I think that it's really important for people, especially of my generation, and you know, people born after me, to experience like a place where, like, you know, the focus isn't who you are on social media, or there aren't all of these like superficial obsessions shared by the population. You know,
Hmm.
it's just real. You know, like, um, people are themselves. Like it's, um, whereas in the United States, it's just, there's just a lot of fabrication. You know,
Hmm.
um, and just in Western society in general. And I think Costa Rica provides like just a priceless sort of detox from that culture.